Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Drawing with Rob. Hopefully this video finds you feeling happy and healthy. Thanks for stopping by and going on this short journey with me. First off, we're going to need a few tools: a pencil, a couple of erasers, and some pens for inking. You can find a complete list of materials used to create this piece in the description below the video. This week, we're going to be drawing Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. This is the reference photo I'm using for this one. I won't always be using photo reference for posing, but for this particular video I am. If at any time you feel like the tutorial is moving too quickly, please press the pause button or choose a slower playback speed in your YouTube video player. This video is a speed draw and runs at double time, so if you'd like to follow along with exactly what I'm doing, definitely slow down the playback speed. Generally I start with the head. So here I'm going to construct the head by starting with a circle for the top of the skull. Give it a center line to let you know which way the head's turned. And I put in a line for the eyes as well to keep them even when I draw them in later. Bring the jawline down from each side, connect it to the chin. And then I start to rough in my eyes here. At this point, I'm just wanting to make basic indications for the nose and mouth that'll get more fleshed out later. Usually for figure drawing, I do a really quick and dirty modified version of the block and cube construction method that you can find in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way and about a billion other drawing books and tutorials. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on block and cube stuff in this video, but I may do a more complete lesson on that construction method in the future. After that, I want to start getting the basic shapes for the hair and the way it frames the face. From there, I get right into the block and cube construction of the body, shoulder, and arm. I want to keep my lines really loose and suggestive. You can see I don't hold the pencil very close to the tip while I'm doing this. That keeps me from getting too exact and lets the figure have a more natural look. After adding the hand, I just sketch in a placeholder for the lightsaber. Later I'll actually break out a ruler and do this the right way, but for now I just wanted to get my construction of the figure completed. Now I'll add a few more basic shapes to represent the cape and some of its folds, and that'll wrap up the basic block and cube construction. With the basic construction finished, I'm going to start tightening up what I've got and adding some light detail to the shapes of the hair before moving on to the facial details. Again, I'm still keeping it really loose here so that I can go back and take any of this off with an eraser. With the eyebrows and other facial features, I want to capture the shapes that I see in the reference photo, but I'm still trying to remain very loose. I'm pushing slightly harder with my pencil than I was during the construction phase, but I'm still trying to make lines that can easily be erased. I spend a little more time adding more definition and a few suggestions of contour lines to the face before moving on to tighten up the line work below. Kylo Ren has a pretty specific look, and if I drew some more straightforward Tom Brady style superhero face here, it wouldn't really work. But with a face this small, it isn't going to be something that's photorealistic, so I'm not going to beat myself up if it's not a spot-on likeness to the character. In the arm work, I'm not going to worry about bubbling in muscle shapes or anything like that, even though Mr. Driver was considerably more ripped in the new movie. If I were drawing a picture of Wolverine slashing his way through a band of ninjas, I'd likely be drawing in bubble shapes for muscles, but it's not necessary here. With the arm texture, I really wanted to keep these lines loose because if I go in too tightly with a pencil, it's not going to look very dynamic or realistic. The harder your lines at this stage, the more static the drawing is likely to become by the end. So even when adding these detail lines to the sleeves, I'm holding the pencil very loosely and hopefully achieving a natural cloth look. I noticed that the mouth just didn't look right, so before the final facial detail I adjusted the tilt to the right side. At this point in the process, I'm applying finished pencils. I'm pressing a little harder on my pencil and holding it even closer to the tip. I knew I'd be inking this piece by the end, but I really should have had a piece of paper under my hand to minimize smudging. Things wind up getting messier than I'd like by the end. I'm beginning to fill in my blacks and shadows here. With the hair, I want to just fill in the blacks and make suggestions of the way that the hair is going. I try not to get caught up in trying to draw individual strands of hair, especially in a figure that's this small. Kylo Ren has nearly black hair, so a lot of this is going to be filled in, but the parts that are left highlighted create a depth and three-dimensionality that you won't get if you fill in the hair completely with black. Remember that the lightsaber is a strong source of lighting from the right, and looking at the reference photo you can see there's some backlighting coming in from the left. Paying attention to lighting will make your figures much more three-dimensional. Here in the finishing stage, I get one more chance to clean up the jawline and make it as close to Kylo Ren's face likeness as I can get it. And with that being said, you can't forget to shadow heavily under that pouty bottom lip. Here's where I give in to reason and pull out a ruler to do the lightsaber correctly. I tried to get away with not doing this, but I realized that I'd not be giving the piece its due diligence if I didn't stick the landing on the lightsaber. When in doubt, just go ahead and use the ruler. It takes less time than doing it twice. For the final lines of the blade of the lightsaber, I wanted to make them very rough as Kylo has lackluster lightsaber construction capabilities, so no ruler needed here. The contours of the cape are pretty straightforward, but again, it's important to pay attention to where the shadows will be. The same is true for shading the arm. I'm going down the length of the arm, trying to find where the shadow finally turns to black on the reference photo and sketching that loosely in. Then I just fill in my blacks. I repeat the process for the chest and the top of the leg. And we can't forget the scar that Rey gave Kylo at the end of The Force Awakens. No proper villain would be complete without a scar, or at least a robot hand. After that, some shadowing on the lightsaber to make it a bit more 3D, and we're done with the pencils. To be completely honest, there was supposed to be an inking section to this instructional video, but alas, I had technical difficulties in the recording of the footage. Rookie mistake. Next time, I'll cover the inking as well. Until then, keep drawing and come find me on Instagram at Bragdon Art or on Facebook at Bragdon Fine Art. And please hit that subscribe button.